What's up everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Michael Inman and I'm an active duty military member who makes videos on my Air Force journey and also military reviews for movies and TV shows. Before we get started, definitely if you like these type of videos, hit subscribe and turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload brand new videos. Today, we're going to be reviewing Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, which came out in 2002. Now, as you know, I'm getting better about giving you the synopsis, so let's start with that. So what is Attack of the Clones about? Pretty much this follows the story arc of we had a Galactic Republic. It turns out it's not called the Galactic Federation before it becomes a Galactic Empire. It's called the Galactic Republic. And there was something called the Trade Federation, which was discussed in my last video for episode 1 of Star Wars. Feel free to watch that if you don't know what I'm talking about. So anywho, it follows the story arc of the Galactic Republic pretty much becoming an empire. Certain people in the Galactic Republic created a threat so that emergency authorizations could be approved by Senate. And then that threat that they created themselves, which allowed them to have those higher tier of powers and authorities, allowed them to pretty much in the end shift the whole thing to an empire, which means the person at top has, you know, much more authority than what would have been as compared to what they had in a Galactic Republic, meaning the checks and balances are turned way down because it's an empire now instead of a republic. Again, Civic 101, we're doing great over here. So yes, there's a lot of things that go on in the movie, but just know mainly Jedis are trying to figure out what's going on. We find out there's a clone army being created, that's a problem, and the different characters that are good are trying to be like, well, who's paying for it? Wait, we authorized this? When did we authorize it? Why did we authorize it? Who's planning to use this? Are they preparing for war? A war against who? And all of that jazz. That's this movie. Now, of course, the main climax really of this story arc comes in the third movie of the trilogy, but we're not there yet. So, you know, slow your roll. Let's get into some of the notes I took while watching this film, and I hope you enjoy. The first thing I wrote is, oh, insert explicitive word, hundreds of solar systems want to leave the Republic. That is a problem. So maybe this isn't the military hat to wear for this video. It's more of like a political hat. But just imagine, you're part of the government. I mean, as a military member, it's not ideal seeing your republic fall apart in front of you, right? But still, imagine you're in politics or like part of the republic or part of the Senate. And like hundreds of solar systems are saying, you know what, this isn't working, we'd like to leave, we'd like to separate. That is a very, very sad era of that republic to be in. That is, you're like there for the end. You're like watching the end before your eyes. That's tragic. Next, an immediate assassination attempt. So when the princess goes to what I still just call headquarters for the Galactic Republic, whatever that planet is, you know, you'd think I know the name, but hey, it didn't make my notes, so I don't know the name. So whenever she gets to that planet, I think the first night. Oh no, before that. She landed, her plane landed, and they immediately blew it up. Immediately. So the assassins are not playing around. They said, upon landing, we were trying to take you out, ma'am. Intel or intelligence indicated that the spice miners could be behind the assassination attempt. However, Count Dooku may be behind it instead. So I just wrote that down because I like that, hey, the Jedis and or other parties are talking about intelligence and Intel is trying to provide, you know, options. Like, okay, if it's not them, maybe it's them. Because every team has, well, every military team usually has an Intel like shop. It's pretty quiet and like they're usually tucked away. So I like that this movie was talking about that, being like, hey, they think it's this, but it also could be this. Questioning your direct supervisor in the initial meeting with the client. Come on now. So that note means, I don't know if you've seen the movie, but there's a point in the movie in which Anakin Skywalker, this rebellious kid from the first film in this trilogy, has now grown up and he's like a teenager or young 20. And he's walking around with his mentor, Obi-Wan Kenobi. And there's a meeting happening with all of the higher level Jedis in which they're trying to discuss what to do next. And Obi-Wan is saying one thing, and Anakin, he doesn't care. There's no couth, there's no composure. I would say a little bit of class is missing in this moment, in these choices that he was making. He contradicts his mentor in front of them, doesn't care. The higher level Jedis are like, what is going on? Get your mentee together. Obi-Wan, bro, are y'all okay? Is there respect in this relationship? And is it going the proper direction? I mean, respect should go both ways, but also, you know, a little deference is nice sometimes. So I was like, oh, Anakin don't care. He's a rebel. He just, you know what? I hear you, boss, but you're wrong. And I'm going to tell you you're wrong and make it clear that I don't care that you feel bad about being wrong if you are wrong in front of everyone that's higher ranked than us. I don't care. Your feelings are not my top priority in this moment. That's Anakin for you. Next, when Anakin Skywalker jumps out of Obi-Wan Kenobi's hovercraft to pretty much, they're chasing the person behind the second assassination attempt of the princess. It's pretty much Mission Impossible. It was very impressive. It was fly. I wanted to do it myself. Give me a parachute. Maybe I can jump out of some hovercrafts too. It looked that cool. I was inspired. So, Anakin Skywalker versus Tom Cruise. I don't know who's more cool, but the question needs to be asked. Next, I wrote that Jar Jar Banks, or Ambassador Jar Jar, that is, he got a promotion. Oh, his language is languaging more these days. So over the, how many years, maybe 10 years, I think they mentioned, between the first movie and second in this trilogy. Oh, Jar Jar has gotten promoted. He is an ambassador. He is all up in that diplomatic/political space. So his language is a lot more polished and refined. And so I noticed that choice in the writing of the script. I said, okay, that tracks. It tracks. Next thing I note was somewhere during the movie, it was said that there may be a missing planet or even a missing solar system because there's a large map that's used by people on the headquarters planet and I presume throughout the galaxy of everything, or throughout the universe of everything that's been discovered and supposedly exists, right? Well, based on some quality intelligence, meaning it could have been a little shoddy, but I guess it turned out to be true. Based on what Obi-Wan Kenobi had gotten from some of the people he could, ask questions to, some of his sources. He was pretty confident that there is something in the universe, but the coordinates that were provided to him, there's nothing on any of the maps used. And he was like, what is that? And someone said to him, well, if there's a system there and it doesn't show up on the map, that means someone doesn't want it to be seen. Who has the power and authority to make that happen? That's interesting. And I wrote, that'd be like paying Google to make sure that Google Maps only shows like sand or like a mountain range and or like hills and trees when there's definitely something else there. What a crazy thing to do. I mean, I think it's a smart thing to do, but like the audacity to like change the map that everyone uses because it's like, that's not your business. And two, for Google to be like, you're right, we are going to do that. Hey, what an idea. So yeah, I thought that was interesting that at least in this movie, someone changed like the map that everyone uses for the entire universe, just to make an entire solar system not even appear. Next, I wrote a really great quote. I hope you enjoy the quote. It seems timely. The quote from the movie, which was stated by the Queen of Naboo, is, "The day we stop believing democracy can work is the day we lose it." Sit on that for a minute. It's pretty good, pretty powerful, guys. One of the later things I wrote while watching this film is when we finally make it to the solar system and the planet that was hidden on the, main map for the universe. When they finally get there, it's like raining. They have these like areas to like create, homes and places to walk on that are coming out of the ocean because I think most of the planet is ocean based. So they've built like platforms out of the ocean for people to live and for things to get done. And it's raining and the waters are just kind of chaotic. And I thought to myself, this planet is giving like tucked away arms manufacturer and arms dealer. Like paid to be kept. Whoever's running this planet or whoever is in these platforms is paying to be off map. And it's not a very attractive or hospitable planet. So they purposely picked the planet that most people would not even want to go to. And it's easy to forget because they don't want you to know or even explore what they got going on. I said, hey, the planet fits the bill. That is a good choice of planet to do some secret things. And now to close out this video, let's do some rapid fire of the last few things I thought while watching Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. First thing is that the place that Anakin Skywalker takes the princess when she is in protective custody is what I'll say, like in hiding. It looks like Lake Como, Italy. Like I'm pretty sure it was shot in Lake Como, Italy. I could be wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. I could be wrong. You guys let me know. Next, when they finally show the clone army, like again, we're on the planet that's part of the solar system that was on incognito mode. Oh, it looks very concerning, like extremely concerning, like scary. I was like, oh, that's a problem. That is a problem. And y'all not knowing that it existed or who's like gonna really get to leverage this army, oh, you should be extremely concerned. Next thing I wrote is that Anakin in this movie was clearly, in my opinion, giving fan of dictatorships. There were multiple quotes, multiple lines where he was like, well, why shouldn't, the emperor or the president get to just decide everything? People will be happier when there's just less confusion, Why should someone question what gets done? I was like, sir, this is not sounding also, Padme, the princess, she also was giving that back to Anakin as well. Like, sir, you are not sounding like a fan of democracy right now. It's giving dictatorship. It sounds like that is your cup of tea, and that's not ideal. And the last thing I noted in the movie was just the quote somewhere near the end that was, if they find out about the weapon we're planning. And I loved that that was a nod to what happens in the episodes 4 through 6, because because they showed a little holograph of the weapon, just very briefly, because the real ones, the people who watched all these darn movies, we know that that's a Death Star. So it was so cool that it was already being hinted at, like a little Easter egg of like, oh shoot, there's this big secret, because even at this point in time in the overarching timeline, they were planning the Death Star and or possibly already starting to build it secretly, in the outer realm where no one can see what's going on, I guess. So I thought it was cool that they included that line, because I was like, hey, we know that, and that's a problem. That's a big, big problem. But that's to be dealt with in the movies, episode 4 through 6. Thank you guys for hanging out with me again. I always appreciate, these movie chats and also jumping in the comment section to see what you guys have to say. I look forward to speaking with you again in the next one. And until then, have a great day. You can follow me on Instagram at Michael A. Inman _. Toodaloo. Bye.